So 25 chunks would be 16 meters times 25. Let's see. That's 400 meters. So 0.4 kilometers is what I'm at right now. Let's see. So 30 FPS, but this is really not dense. Have you ever seen one of these? A journey map? They apparently have these now. Well, I mean, I made the server back in 2018, but... Let's see. Let's take you somewhere cool. How about... that port is right there. So you could see basically around where my mouse is moving. That was the 25 chunk render. And then now, I think I'm a few kilometers away. Yeah. Yeah, this is it's supposed to be scale model. Well, not scale, to scale. It's more like 1 to 2.43. Because this is only 139. Yeah, I did before. Yeah, they're all in storage though now. My Legos, because I'm at my dad's house. It's sort of weird having because before I would usually lose the map, but for some reason I managed to keep this one, and it's enormous in terms of how much time I've spent in it. Like for instance, this right here. This one building took probably 16 or 17 days to complete. Let's see, we can go to it. I lag too much in the city, so I have to build stuff outside the city and then paste it in. Because, I mean, you can make a skyscraper with 2 chunks loaded, but it's 2 chunks. It's like you're in a fucking... You can't back up and look at it. Oh, well, since we're stuck inside the 256 and sea level is 64, everything, the maximum I can build is 192. 192 meters tall. For reference, the Empire State Building, that's 381 meters tall. If you count the whole, like, spire on the top. Toward the end. Why am I having trouble finding that? I guess I can just go from here then. This is close enough. Yeah. That's before they had all that radio equipment on top of it. They just had this. It had this, like, it literally looks like a penis. It wasn't as tall as it used to be, but they used to dock airships there all the time back in the 20s and 30s. Because, I mean, yeah, the Hindenburg or whatever, that's only if you're using hydrogen. It's the most efficient. It's the only really cool way to do it, or like the realistic way, because everybody found out that it's not really worth it if you're using helium. Otherwise, it would have gotten, like, because everybody thought that back in the day that, like, in the year 2000 now, everybody would be using airships. They thought airships would be the next big thing, but no such luck. Then, dude, immersive railroading, dude, I spent a while on that too. That's these green lines that connect parts of the, well, I guess, builds within the world. I hate it though now. Now I build, and I'm always worried what it looks like on the map. So I've actually changed the way I build stuff just so it looks good on top in topography. The rail's pretty easy to place. I've forgotten how to do it because it's been a while since I've done any of it, because it makes you lag like crazy. These things are, it's like the way it's modded, these things, you know how I'm rendering everything right now? These things are outside of that. So even if I loaded in and it was, you know, when you load in, there's no chunks loaded at all and you're, like, stuck in space or whatever, this is one of those things that would be loaded with you. Then you could terraform too. It change the biome. That's why all these you suddenly see it turn. You see how the shade of green is different, even though I tried to make it look like, because most of the stuff, the trees and things like that, are just random. They spawn in and you get that with any Minecraft world. But I try to blend it so that like I've actually corrupted entire cells, and so a cell is this big from this all the way down to here. You can see because it's jagged. It's like, what the fuck is this? It's like forest, and then it just turns into flatlands. But I've tried to heal it in places like here. All of this is healed. And when I say heal, I just try to make it look like, I don't know how to fucking... That's like a painter type shit, dude. Like, only they would know how to make, like, landscapes, that kind of thing. So just these legs. There's actually a building in New York at 170 Park Avenue. I based it off of that, except I forgot to do setbacks on this side. You see how it's just straight? It should be going up each layer like this. But it's gonna be near Grand Central Station or whatever. It'll be in Midtown, next to the Chrysler building. And it has these weird, like, tendril kind of pillars that go up. Each one of these I had to use Excel to make, because I'm approximating the curve bit by bit. So I take this area, or this column, it's just the white piece, and then I was trying to make it curve, but I can only move, up 1, up 2, and then he tried to get a curve from that. I don't think they'll ever find a better medium than what Minecraft has to offer in terms of building. Like, unless you want glass that actually reflects because of the chisels and bits. The fact that I can use 1/16 of a block instead of an entire block. Before you could only place, the big old fucking... that just 1 by 1. Like, this webbing shit took me, oh god, these took me days. Days, but definitely worth, though. Chisel and bits. I'm not sure how, like, if the average person playing Minecraft, how, like, if obviously if they're playing creative, like me, I couldn't imagine not wanting it over just about any other mod. Like, maybe if you didn't have flat color blocks so that I could use every color on the color spectrum, like, at least almost every color. That's what these are. Same with the glass. They called them forged micro blocks back when we were, maybe 2015. Well, when we were in high school, like 2012, there was no such thing. In fact, I think there was only, we were still on the 128. You can only, the entire world was 0 to 128 instead of 0 to 256. Although now it's 0 to 312, but for yeah, hell yeah, dude. I'd say it's the best free CAD program that you could ever have. Because you can essentially just make whatever the hell you want. At least if you're trying to make things in, well, I had jets there, so you can clearly make something like that. Something curvy you wouldn't expect. Like this. Do you honestly think that one day this stuff might be worth something? Because of, or at least me being able to construct this. Because if you just had me go play on somebody else's server and you gave me the same mods, I could do it. Remember, it's just a game. It's just how you present it. It should be facing east. Yeah. So these are supposed to fly off our carriers. Back in like 2013. You ever heard of the X-47? Probably not, but I mean, maybe the shape. It's a drone. Maybe they have it in like a Call of Duty game. Hell, if you've been playing any military games, I'm certain you've run into it by now. Well, yeah, I guess it is sort of good. Like, what is he? I imagine everyone knows what an F-35 is, though. Things like that, right? The only gay thing, though, is, dude, if you go above 256 with one of these skyscrapers that go into the top chunks, they flicker. See, I can only see so far, but... Oh, yeah. That's to be expected, though. there's always going to be like a time where that kind of thing happens. Because if you're thinking about servicing a whole fleet of those things, like like I can't even imagine the logistics. Like, dude, this thing, it's supposed to have like fucking stealth coating on it. Like, how the hell is stealth coating supposed to survive up at 60,000 feet while I'm doing Mach 2? That ridiculous kind of shit. Like, the entire F-35 program was, I remember a headline was, it was, this money spent on the F-35 program was larger than Australia's entire economy. Just at the F-35, bigger than Australia. What's worth more, the F-35 program or all of Australia? Those bees are the dude. They're still the Swiss. Like, it's a Swiss watch, dude. Like, if you think of the old fighters, like an F-16 or something, it can do everything those did. Not go as fast, and I guess they're. Some people would say they're not as good, but the fact that you can do that while, like, dude, it can. It can do it's Stovall, so it can do a short takeoff off of, like, a ridiculously small carrier, and then it can vertically land. That's what makes those F-30. It basically means all those people that have helicopter carriers and are LHDs, the small type carriers, are now aircraft carriers because you can put an F-35 on them. So now all of our countries that are allies all of a sudden have aircraft carriers now too, because we can put F-35Bs on them. I could always just here. Let's just put it all the way down to a quarter of a frame per second. Something super crazy like that. What, the F-35? Dude, believe it or not, I went to the amount of time I spent in school for um, uh, mechanical engineering for propulsion. It gives me a lot of like. I nearly graduated shit, and dude, a jet engine is it's what goes into that. It's like being able to engineer things. So we made the switch from locomotives like the steam engines to diesel engines because we had the ability to machine 1/1000th of an inch instead of 1/100th of an inch. But when you think of like that was a jump that was made in the 1950s. When you think of like an F-35 or something, the level of it's beyond what you can even like fathom when you're trying to think of, oh, I need to cut this precisely. It's something done by a computer, like, and only having these computer CAD and stuff would you ever even think to generate a shape like that? What's my favorite part of town? Hell yeah. Let's see if I manage. There we go. Now, let's see if I can get flying. There we go. Because the FPS will slowly drop. Or just... Ooh, I'm at 10 right now, but that's not going to last. Oh, one of those, dude, those things are like 2 miles long, right? The American infrastructure, our railway system, there's a reason why we're America, dude. Where were you in Arizona? Probably like, I have no idea where all the rails are. Somebody else might know that, but. It's better if you just look at the map. Oh, Flagstaff, yeah. I'd never been up. I think I went up there once. We went up there once as like freshmen. Snowy as fuck. Since they got NAU up there, dude. That was the place to be. Certainly not at Riddle and Prescott, dude. I lived there for I lived in Prescott for 5 years, but I know what it's like after it snows and it's just fucking ice, and it's just cold. It's, oh yeah, we had snow, we played in the snow, and then the next month is just it's fucking ice on the ground, black ice that you can slip on. Luckily they put salt all over the grounds on the at Riddle, so I didn't have to worry about slipping or anything like that. But if you were thinking about going anywhere, oh yeah, dude, chain feels. Dude, he sent me a tell the other day. Chain Fields is awesome, dude. Honestly, it was them on that server on Crush Ridge. They were the only other guild that was there. There was no other guilds. I forget the other two guys' names. What was one guy played Mage. That was his best buddy. Lovin? Yeah, no, he's crazy, dude. That's the one thing about WoW. You're always gonna be. It's because it literally appeals to everyone. So it's like going to a football game or something. You can literally the entire population pool will be in there. So someone like me can hear shit that I have no business hanging around with those kind of people. Like we don't mesh in real life, but hey, we're playing WoW. Yeah, Lovin. Nick Lovin, I think. No, no, no. You see how crazy this is, though. I'm getting like a frame. It's barely rendering chunks in. Yeah, that's the whole point. That's the what makes it so good is that this lag can be remedied by one thing, and that's computing power. There's you can always brute force Minecraft. I don't mind that I can't do it, and honestly, I don't do. Even if you had some, let's say I dropped 40 grand on a computer setup. You know what? I think I could maybe get myself to a frame or two in the city, 3 FPS with 64 chunks. That's amazing, right? 40 grand, and that's all it gets you. It's crazy how you can just, dude, you'll bring any computer to its knees because this is just, it's old fashioned brute force. So the stuff we'll be able to make in like 10 years. Because now that I think about it, in 2012, I wouldn't even be, or in better yet, 2013, when 256 height first came out and I started making buildings, I would never dream that I could make the shit I make now. Or that I would be like, I wouldn't be able to see as far as it. Like, you can only had a few chunks rendered too. Yeah, yet. Definitely. See? Not yet, but soon. Because I think the only thing I've seen online that I can only get 128 gigs. Do they have 256 gigs of RAM? Because right now, I'm using here. I have 56.8 gigs of RAM dedicated to this right now. Oh, dude, thanks, man. And dude, I don't know what to say because you just bring it up like randomly. Like, I'm sorry about your dad, dude. But thanks for like saying, dude, because I thought I was just never gonna like I was never gonna fucking eat normal again. Wasn't gonna ever be able to like smoke or drink or do it, any kind of recreational thing. Like it would just become. I thought that's where I was headed, but then it just turned around. I'm fat and happy now, dude. I lost so much weight, dude, and it was just shitting off because dude, when you can't eat anything and it hurts to eat, then obviously it's easy to lose weight. Your dad was older too, right? Like I think, was he like near? He was older than my dad, and I consider my dad pretty old because he's like 67. My dad, So I imagine everybody else, like, and since they're a few years older, and I don't know, everybody's parents are different ages, but 77. That makes sense. Because he probably. That's when I'm expecting my dad to go. Just because, like, if you're not super healthy or you won the genetic lottery, that's just when you go. But to be honest with you, dude, that's what the. If you look it up online, the average average human lifespan is around 79 years. So there you go, 78. I mean, sure you want one more year or more, but dude, at least it's not like what's happening to my grandfather right now. Being in this like you can't even play. Like think about it, you have a TV in your room and it has all the channels and stuff, but you don't know how to work the controller anymore because you're so old. Like I just don't understand. Do people that are like 90 years old, like I understand that there's the genetic outliers that are just, oh look at me, I'm 99 years old, I'm still fucking walking around and shit. Or I'm 80 years old and I can still ride a bike, like that kind of crazy things. But how you look, yeah, you just lose your mind. My dad's talking to me about it, how he just can't remember things like he could. Obviously, he has when you're that old, you do have the benefit of everyone around me is 30 years younger. Of course, I know what I'm doing, and you don't know what you're doing. People always make that like. Even though we leave little bits behind with our technology culture and such like that, we always make the same damn mistakes, dude. You only live so many years. Nobody lives forever. And then you just live through each era. But we're bound to make the same stupid mistakes that people, 1,000 years ago made. Crazy shit is I know that there's people out there that whatever I make in 3D, they can do that, but also on a curve. Problem with Minecraft is you're always stuck in square, 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 square. So you can't make like I can't make a building facing southeast, right? That's a 45-degree angle because you can only face four ways. They're all squares. Oh, dude, we're not us. The general public will know about that stuff 100 years from now, but they'll know about it. But it's not like it'll be something common, and that's 100 years from now. Like you just think about it from, like yeah, we got a whole bunch of cool stuff from, like let's say our own birth in the '90s. If you compare the '90s to now, but I mean, hell, in 1900 they thought we were going to be a lot farther than we are. Oh, the it solves it to a degree. This brown building in front of me, that's at a that's just a straight pattern, like, I-beams, just, your generic kind of stuff. Like, there's a few setbacks and changes that you would see, but it's for the most part flat, but it's still at an angle. And even doing that at an angle was a fucking giant pain in the ass. Trying to make windows that had a thickness, but you're placing them at an angle. I'm just wondering if there's any reason to move to another map. Like, I spent so much time on this one, but is there something honestly better that 1.18 or whatever the new version offers? Even fully modded, too. Yep. The only problem with this is that Minecraft Steve is a fucking giant, dude. If you think about it, he can fit in the. Yeah, I realize he can fit in a 2 block tall, floor. Like in a cave, it's only 2 blocks tall, but 3 meters is or 1 meter is 3 feet about. So he's about 6 feet tall, right? But he's also a meter thick. Dude, this nigga thick, dude. If you were 3 feet thick, are you fucking kidding me? Like, his arms are, like, literally, if you measure them by bits, he's probably got arms that are, each one of these little, his square hands is like a foot by a foot. Because the conversion down from 16ths, these bits I play with, is about 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches by 2.5. That's the smallest I can get. So that means all those little squares you see on the block right now that I'm holding in my hand, those are all 2.5 by 2.5. Makes it hard to gauge stuff. I think if you're trying to think about it in terms of like how far away something is or how big something is. This gray one and that black one. Jeez, I can't even point it out because a quarter of a frame per second. Those were made in like 2018, dude. Like, thinking about it, like, I've watched this thing grow from. If I could open that. Like, this is where I landed. Like, the first place I decided to set up anything. By the end of 2018, this is what was built. Probably this and this. It's the amount of like the stuff I get to build right now. It's honestly, I feel bad. Like, I feel that like I don't deserve to get to build in this kind of this kind of setup, because I'm using, like, literally, it's so old that I'm building off of, like, it's like I'm building off a multi-person server. Because old me made it this way, and new me knows that this was either wrong or The point is that you get to build off of what you made before. It's sort of redundant, but because I don't think I can replicate the things I made from back then. Like I thought differently back then. But it's like that one. What's that one dude say? Uh, if you stare into the abyss long enough, it stares back into you. I also give these things street names. Sort of cringe, but I name them after people I know. You honestly have a street in one of the cities. And we only get to use it for so long, too. I think about it. I could make the biggest city ever if I had 1,000 years. But I don't have 1,000 years. I actually did something stupid. I put both yours and fucking Otto. I put his. For some reason I didn't hyphenate the streets per Honan Nero. Actually, we can run around in that city without being like this, where I'm talking and you're looking at not even a slideshow. Like every once in a while, you'll see something flicker into existence, but otherwise, you're just looking at a still image. I just gotta do these before and after images, dude. They're actually pretty good. You can put them up on some website, anything. Like, I think I use DeviantArt. God, art. What a horrible thing to, like, I can't believe I'm fucking associating myself with that kind of thing. That's honestly what it is, it's art. But yeah, for a NEAT that doesn't work, make any money or anything, at least I'm doing something. The compressed zip file for this map is 6.6 gigs. In zip file, it's 6.6 gigs. That may be because they're all the screenshots, but WoW lost its its luster was, I don't know. Maybe I could play. The only way I could see myself ever playing that again would be like a new account, and I'd also, dude, I wouldn't play with anybody, dude. I think I would just like go with randoms, like join another guild or something. That was what made part of it fun. Was just like you go out there and you meet a billion different people. Not saying raiding with P2 was bad, but let's be honest, I only met them because of you. Dude, I was thinking about it. I, it was November 28th, right? That's when it dropped. Thinking about it, that's when I started. That was the first time I had gotten back on my computer since I had gotten sick. Dude, I was in bed every day, and I just used my iPad. I played this phone game. And I didn't even use my desktop for nearly a year. Ah, January. What came out in November? Yeah. Oh, classic Watlick. I played that one in high school, dude. I knew the politics of that, too. That was what made raiding and Legion so cool. We all just, dude, we didn't even have to be on the same servers or anything. You didn't have to be in the same guild. Didn't always need 25. You could raid with however fucking many you wanted. Well, after some time, here's something of a render. Oh, we don't? Wait. Yeah, I heard about that. Wait, so you can raid with Horde now? That's actually pretty cool. There's a lot of people you'd want to play with. Horde's still probably best for races, though, right? Or have they completely removed that? I would imagine with the dragon people or whoever the fuck now that there's gotta be, dude. There's so many fucking races, dude. They added like fucking like Fox people the other. Oh no! So you literally just have bands of literally every race under the under the rainbow, and you just prowl around. Is PvP like dude? It's probably like if you group up, and if you're Horde or Alliance, now you guys are flagged as a I don't know as an entity and you fight other entities? Oh yeah, for what about the lizard people, dude? That's what the new race is, right? These fucking dragon people. The fuck? You telling me I'm gonna play a dragon person warrior over literally any? I'd rather play panda. For fuck's sake, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way that any armor at all looks cool on them. There's no way. I don't believe it. Wait, what? You? It's to the point where you can. I can kill anybody I want. I could see arenas and RPGs to where it's just you're looking for. How the hell do you tell? You can't tell by like what their race is anymore. But do they just? I mean, your HUD will obviously be telling you. But I mean, you can't can you cast in the human form? You can't really do any. Is it like the wolf? Like what are they called? The worgen? Oh, dude, if it's red, it's dead. God, you guys are. That's why, dude. I could never PvP just because like, I I remember doing it back when I was in like seventh grade. But dude, I was in fucking seventh grade. That's what. I was an idiot. Like I had not yet settled down to the PvE mindset I have now. Oh, so you can essentially play human, but you're a lizard person? Oh, what? Well, that sounds pretty good. That's some like Alex Strauss shit, or probably has to do a lot with the. I remember that the dragons were a big deal in Kata, and so I guess it's like Kata too, in terms of bringing back the dragons. I wish I read all the quests or whatever or could do that, dude. But that's like a whole nother can of worms. Like the whole lore of WoW, especially WoW, the online part. Like all the shit that you had to be there for all of this. Whenever you beat the boss, last raid boss of each X pack. Oh, it's shit. Oh yeah, I remember seeing on 4chan somewhere that there's a waifu. Who's the hottest one? It's Alex Strauss, right? The red one. Who's the bad guy now, though? Oh, so it's like, please, like, death by snooze, you giant. When I think about it, there's even if there is like a bad guy or whatever. I mean, you still can just sit in whatever the main city is and run around in circles for hours on end for the entire X pack, and nothing bad will ever happen to you. Just like lore wise. I don't even know what an annihilator is. Dude, I've always played Warrior. I don't know what it was. I think it was Swifty back in the day. And then I moved from, because I had played Red Paladin back in Watlick. Then I just was a warrior forever, dude. Although I mean, we all have as your account grows, dude, you have everybody at max level or whatever. But to actually play the class, like you really like you main that one. Hmm. It picks it up. I can't hear anything. Or at least I didn't even like think about it. Technically, you're only a few blocks away from me now. Dude, I also heat it. I use I do the vape things. I don't actually smoke flower. Ah, lately. What have you done for me lately? I tried streaming of like me when I was actually making everything, and it was just such a pain in the ass because I felt like I couldn't. I don't know, but now I just stream after I make them. Here, let's get out of here. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, dude. Is honestly, I'm now using them as like it honestly is it just documents stuff for free. Yeah, no, of course that kind of thing. Honestly, the only reason I do it really is because I like to think documenting it is a good thing. Although that's a whole nother can of worms with the renders. Like you know how we were in the city and I was lagging like that. Every single turn of my head is a screenshot though, and it's a good screenshot because that's the whole point. That's why it's so dense. That's why you're only getting 1 FPS. Because all get all the goodies all in one place. But in terms of one day, how much you can actually. Mm, two buildings, small buildings, entrance and finishing of the outskirts of what this is supposed to be. Ingulls. It's a one of the ship company. I'm calling it Ingulls Naval Base. Yeah, I know, pretty cringe with the fucking. Ooh, you got your little Air Force, right? Right. But it's a model. Is the point. Everybody's allowed to have model ships, dude. And so I have one hull that I. Well, I guess if you're talking about, what do you mean by lately? Within this year, or within this month? And when I say year, I mean plus or minus 12 months. So pretty much all of 2022. This is the only one I have other than what started as an Air Force base. This little hut was probably made sometime in mid or early 2018. God, thinking back that far. I even remember what anime I was watching. Because you always gotta have something on in the background. That's why I love watching professional wrestling now, because it's endless. Even more endless than like our sports. I guess if you watched like all of basketball, all of football, yeah, it would rival wrestling. Oh, dude. Honestly, I don't think it's. It's hard to compare that kind of thing. I don't ever pretend that I could know how somebody else understands something, dude. Because I mean, adding up these equations or whatever so that you can get to it. I guess a point of understanding in terms of just the general world around you, or the fake world, Minecraft world around you, what's an approximation of what the real world is. The other day, dude, I was looking at these fucking maps, just of like I had no idea. It's beautiful, dude. If you look at Washington, Baltimore, and then as you keep going, and it's this line of just huge cities, and I had no idea there was just a fucking line of them all across the East Coast. And it's so small, and that's our dude. That's our East Coast. What's sad is El Segundo probably takes up all of this, including this body of water, and this, maybe. I don't know if I'm... Because this is just, it's just a Minecraft map at the mini biomes. Dude, it's weird how they really were the 13 colonies, dude. My dad's from Pennsylvania. And thinking about it, dude, remember when we went to... Dude, I was supposed to be in your guys' group, actually. You guys had written me down. You, Kevin Stone, who else? There was two others. When we went to DC, remember? Because we also were in Philadelphia at the time, and I remember we stayed in some hotel in Virginia. Oh, dude, I haven't been. Honestly, dude, when I go to New York, I feel like I'm gonna weep at its beauty. Like I just won't be able to. Dude, for me, these skyscrapers, man. Like when I was in Tokyo, I thought I was. All these buildings I'm making, you know how they're only 192 meters. I thought that was short, like that wasn't tall, like real buildings. But, dude. 200 meters is a fucking long way up, dude. It's just the reason I can't see it is in real life you can walk around, except you're rendering your eyes can see over the, I think, how long is the horizon? Like at least 20 miles. So if I can see in 20 miles in every direction, dude, looking at cities from any, dude, I just have to leave my house though. And you have to have money to do that kind of thing. Dude, I'd want to know a lot of people in New York. Like, just let me go to your house and just look out your window, and I'd be able to just a few pictures, and then if you were able to do that with a large enough frequency, dude, you could get. Oh man. I wonder what it's like now, New York. They say there's a whole bunch of crime and stuff, but I think that's just, well, I guess probably just for the people that live there. If you're on the move and, traveling or whatever, you get, like, huddled into the tourism, like, trap, I guess you'd say. Yeah, it does. Costs a lot to die. Oh, yeah, I've never been there, dude. Like I said, here, I'll show you. If you'll indulge me. Gonna let me teleport? Just the beauty of the rectangular anti-prism. They came up with it. For coming up with the One World Trade Center, they had so many fucking different like it took us to. It wasn't done till 2013, dude, and the place got destroyed in 2001. You telling me it took 12 years to rebuild that? We're supposed to be America, that, but it had to be perfect. There's only one way we can make it perfect. Square. Everything has to be a square. Oh, 25 chunks loaded here is pretty far. Let's try half. You remember this one? Did you get to see this one in New York? You'd know it. It's the largest building by far in that area in terms of width and length, like how girthy it is. And it's got a spire on it that makes it the tallest. And if you were in New York anytime since 2013, then... And I imagine you went to the Empire State Building, right? If you went there, you saw this. A rectangular antiprism is this square that you rotate 45 degrees. So when you get to the top, you get a square that's half the size. But it's just, if you move the corners, if I rotated the corners so that the corners go to the middle, you just get this. Let's see, each side gives 3 triangles, and they're shared onto each side. These are, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 sides. I'd weep there, dude. It even though it's so and the original World Trade Center would have been, dude, getting to see that would have been just as beautiful, because it, from what the pictures like, it was it's a centerpiece, dude. You don't fuck up a centerpiece. Dude, but like, in terms of what that makes you feel like, it's not the people's fault, but you still know that devious people from across the world, because of their, they think their religion's better than yours, and destroying that was their way of waging war on you. A piece of art like that, just something that those aren't supposed to. You don't blow those. You kill the people. Why didn't they just try to invade America or something and then just all die? Like, at getting squished by our military instead of playing like that, dude. It's nonsensical. And dude, in terms of prejudice towards people of what's the faith? Jesus. They're Muslim, right? Because there's like three camps. If you, and I guess if you count Hinduism and the other ones from the Orient, it's just Christians, Jews, and Muslims. Those are three. In terms of religion, there are in the West there just aren't any other ones. I guess if you call it the Orthodoxy and the Mormons and shit, but that you know what I mean. The canon's either you think Jesus is the guy. If you're a Jew, you don't think Jesus is the guy, and if you're Islam, I think you think Muhammad's the guy. Each one of these goes up a different, because it's so easy, because it's just a 45-degree angle, and it's a square, so I just have to go up and over one in this direction and this direction every 11 bits while maintaining some thickness, so I end up with a window. So these are actually pretty easy to make, despite them. I made, because each one of these has a different slope, and since their bases are different, you're gonna get a different anti-prison too. The one I'm sure that none of these are the exact proportions of the New York one, because I think I used height, width. I didn't use. I don't know the angle at which they make these things. From top to the point in the real One World Trade Center. So I made 3 amigos, though. 3 amigaps. Oh yeah, because that was becoming a problem. Is just like they had in the 1930s, people holding up banks with, because you could just drive off, dude. What are you gonna fucking do? I don't have cell phone. I can't. In the same fashion, I could just get on a plane with a machine gun and then hold it up. What are you gonna do? We're fucking moving at nearly, Mach 0.7 or 0.8 at 30,000. You're moving, dude. Your airspeed is like what, 600 miles an hour? If you don't have a headwind, then it'd be like half. But the point is, you're moving hundreds of miles per hour. There's nothing anybody can. And I got a machine gun. I can just fucking go. I'm gonna fly this fucking plane into a building. And dude, physics, if it's taught me anything, and especially knowing anything about jet engines, dude, you know, turbine blades are made out of nickel, not made out of steel. Steel would melt. It would literally melt inside of an engine. So you have to make them out of nickel. You're damn right that jet fuel melts steel beams. people think it was an inside job because the buildings fell so gracefully, flat and nice down. It's because they're unnatural. They're not like mountains. Like if you blew up a mountain, it would blow up like you'd think it would blow up. But when you, like if you crash a plane into a mountain, you're just gonna, it's off the side. But buildings are man-made structures, and they're designed to live in. So if you mess with it enough, of course you're gonna knock it down. It's gonna come down like a sandcastle. That's what all buildings are, just big sandcastles. Yeah, but did all planes have cabins that were like, do you have a door? Like it's not like they had bulletproof doors or anything. They never thought to do that. Never relinquished the cabin. If the guys assumed these guys had knives or whatever when they took the cabin, they could just go up, slit their throats. If I know how to fly a plane, I know how to fly a plane. Like I don't think the law would that law particularly would be enough to stop it from happening. At least back then. You know, nobody. At least I mean, I was just a little kid. I didn't even know any better. But anybody that was adult that was regularly flying around the country, I don't know what it was like to fly back then. But if it was like riding a bus or something, like because we only know the now, where you have to go through a million fucking machines. It's a giant hassle like this. Yeah, planes are the type of airships we use aren't the same airships. Think of a plane as an air spaceship, if that makes any sense. Because like a ship like the Titanic, those things are supposed to be, and skyscrapers as well, huge pieces. We're assuming that they last for hundreds of years, well past our own lifetimes. So you have the B-52. There are people that are, I think it's like, when did it was the 50s, I think, early 50s. Like they perfected the shit out of that design of just this continental strategic bomber, basically going from the B-17, the B-29 to the B-52, which is the end. That's as good as it gets for the tech we have. With high bypass turbofans, and just you strap them on the side of this big fucking bus that can carry 70,000 pounds of, explosives, nukes, I guess you want, and he just bomb trucks. And these things have been around for longer than people have been alive. Now I'm starting to think about it. Am I gonna be like, I'll see B-52 still in service, and I'm in like let's say I'm in my 60s. At that point, a plane would be hundreds of years old. You don't think about like weapons lasting that long, much less, you never think that. Well, I guess guns, but something like a jet, dude. This thing flies around. No way. We'd make something way better. Well, it's not like you need over it. That's the nice part about most. It's not over engineering. It's just what are the design parameters that I want, and if you max out, just if you turn the dial, I want it to be this good at this, and then at this, and nothing else. This is the plane you end up with. Because obviously a B-52 isn't going to be flying around like an F-16, 5G, dude. You could. That's the thing about pilots. I think that's the most important thing they learn is that if they try to do like the Tom Cruise bank right and pull a 9G turn, you'll rip your wings off. They will instantly come off. Wing boxes that are that strong are only designed for fighters. That's why they weigh 50 fucking tons. Despite only being, their wingspan is nothing compared to like a jetliner. Well, that's the purpose of a wing box. It's just, it holds the whole plane together. But it's only designed to do so much. Because remember, you just want to take off and land. That's the only point of a plane. It's to move us around really fucking fast because I don't know, we want to, and you know what, we're clever enough to make that happen. I always suck at building shit. It's only when I come back from another building game where my eyes aren't adjusted. Playing Conan or something. Conan or Fallout 4. I've hit the point with Fallout 4 though. Very unfortunate. It's a limit in the engine. Not the, it's not like Minecraft where, you know how I was getting a quarter of an FPS. I can't brute force that. It fails is the point. So you get a point where you can't do anything. Inside, let's see, I was pretty good at this. ANSYS 16.2. So it's a CAD program based around structures, and you come up with geometry and all these fixed points. Like if something's it's an engineering program, and the only point of it is structures. The cool part about what I'm trying to get at is that this stress that you're talking about, you can map that over like a wing. Let's say your wing box, and if I put a load on it, as in your wings there's got to be something pushing you up and keeping you from falling from gravity, right? So if you have this force pushing on the wings, if you treat them as, well, that's getting into more into the engineering part. The point is that you can mesh over top of the volume that you created, and that mesh will have nodes at each one so that you can know the instantaneous stress of where something is. Because stress is, it's dependent on where you are with respect to the load. So you'd get a graph, obviously, but I can't show that. I can only show it through color, which is actually really cool. So whenever you see those pictures of a stress strain, or not a stress strain, but just stressed in general on something, like there's one of a cow, wind blowing on a cow, and so it's showing the color is in this case showing airspeed or air pressure. Pressure is another form. Pressure is the same unit as stress. You just call that normal stress. Oh, you mean like they try to do a short takeoff? Stoval. There's a reason why they have those jet assisted like cargo planes or rocket assisted that shit they came up with back in the day. And they try to get attitude control after the stall. The stall means none of your control surfaces work anymore. The point is that your plane's not flying anymore, it's falling. This is remote control, right? I'd gotten to the point where, dude, to actually measure stress in a member, you have to do this thing where you set up little resistors that they vary in resistance based off of how much they're bent. So, and if I know how much the beam bends, then I can tell the stress inside of it, and that's how you solve for the stress from the bending that you get from this differential resistance in this little piece of whatever the hell that I'm slapping onto the member. It's something I remember from school in machine design. We had to do it once. I forget the we had to know for some EE stuff for it. It's this weird resistor pattern. To the point if you're running a current through it and you have some voltage, you get voltage change. Or whatever change. Because of the resistance. And that change is directly proportional to the actual deflection or compression or tension that would actually happen inside the member at that point. So I guess if I was going to put a mesh on top of a beam so that I can know how to stress at every point as I'm testing it, I'd have to put a bunch of them on there. Wonder if you could just make like a coding that told you the stress at every point. I don't think it's possible, but my buddy was talking to me. They were doing F-16 stress tests for the there's this thing called a flutter. It, your wings start flapping, like they start oscillating. It's some frequency, and so he's like interning for some fucking. I think this was for the military, for FCC. No, this is after college, so I think he's working for them. A whole bunch of them went down to Edwards Air Force Base. I think it was Bryce, Trevor, and Michael, plus a few others from, or at least who I went to school with. These things just spawn in. Since they're modded, applied energistics, it's not like vanilla. These things survive cell resets. Like I've reset an entire cell and the thing was still there. They're supposed to be like meteors. A pretty good advanced system for moving around items. I stopped messing with the item, like actual survival part of the Minecraft, because the tech was you can really fuck up your map. Like it'll completely destroy the map. You'll never get. I have to like restore it to a backup, because whatever I did caused some infinite loop that the server couldn't handle. So I've been going around actually destroying most of my tech stuff. I don't think I have anything operational. Well, I was looking at one. I had 30 million iron ore blocks mined. The crazy shit they have in here. It's because it's not supposed to. It's like it's a concept it was developed by generations so that we as just one, like as a single people can't fathom how you came up with it. But it's there. We know how to use it now, but it's only after a lot of trial and error from a lot of people that are long since dead. It was them, their kids, their kids' kids, and eventually to us. Dude, one day the 2020s are going to be like the 1920s. They're going to think we're all super old. They won't even be around anymore. Ooh. Dude, that's some good redstone work, my friend. Dude, that's pretty good. My God. The only problem with those is that's only cool if there's no other way. You better had bedrock. Like your shit was made out of bedrock. You couldn't just blow it up. Because at least that's my experience with Rust, Cone, and Exa. The point is that they just destroy your base. Doesn't matter if you have a fucking a super duper lock on it. They're just gonna blow up the wall. That's how I imagine, dude, they might even do that probably in high schools, in junior colleges. I wouldn't be surprised if EE professors used Minecraft Redstone to teach circuits. Circuits is a freshman level class, but it's still hard as fuck. What do you mean inefficient in terms of oh, I guess step by step in order to. That's that. That's getting far into EE side. Like when I say EE, I mean electrical engineer. So that's like how efficient your circuit design is if you have to make the gates yourself. Oh. Oh, now I understand. It's like if you made the wires too long or spaces between each like portion of the circuit. Because that efficiency you're talking about is the same thing that generates lag in my cities. It's just because there's too much stuff. Can't do it. we don't have the power. I don't care how dude. I don't care how rich you are on this earth, dude. Like literally, I guess Bill Gates could have like someone boot up or have his own personal supercomputer, like huge, like it takes up a lot of power. It would have its own block. Like that's the type of computing power I'm talking about. If I could render 64 chunks and run around my cities with like 120 FPS, you saw it was frame by frame, a quarter of an FPS. That was just the 25 chunks. I'm talking he has all 64 chunks rendered and he's flying around like nothing, and it just instantly loads. What's a binary module? You have 12,000 of them. Oh yeah, because you said you set up a trivia game, so it might have been like, no, because they can make redstone like, people play movies almost. Like they push out different blocks, and that redstone plays out a movie. Like it changes enough to where you can see it. Or calculators that are made entirely with redstone, because at least what my dad told me was all computers are essentially just big adding machines, except it's binary adding, which is different from what at least I think adding is. When I think of adding, I add another soda to my stomach. Oh my god, LED with redstone. Dude, Minecraft is fucking. They didn't realize what they unleashed. I hope I have the privilege of being able to play Minecraft in the next 10 years. Even if I have to work or whatever and do, like, it's some real life job. I always want to come back to building. Yeah, that's why they had. When I saw those screens in the SoFi Stadium, like, cause my dad will be watching football or something, and I look at those screens and I'm like, that's too big. It's like that's like 30 blocks. Like that's something I built in Minecraft. Like, if I'm looking at the faces, this is a 70-meter tall building and it's 40 meters wide. That's like looking from here to down here, and that's a screen, and it's curved, or it's playing high definition. Like, you're shitting me, right? That's not possible, right? But no, it's in those. That's how much we just keep adding more and more. What's the law? Every 6 months, the computing power that we have are able to create it doubles. Some guy's law. Watching wrestling, dude, back in 2010, it was so simple, their stuff. But by 2014, dude, they had already started making those giant screens in the back. Would I do it? Would I get a job just so that I could make a computer that could render my city at just a few more FPS? You have to, somebody have to show me convincingly, like some streamer or whatever that's got, they easily can afford some 40 grand computer. Because that's the only thing. Like, some people want a car, they want a fucking some 100 grand car, and they want to drive around and fucking fuck bitches, get money, that kind of thing. 100 grand on a computer for me. Like, you get your own fucking Ferrari of a goddamn, and it can load anything. But yeah, dude, money is bytes. It's information. People don't realize when you have like a $20 trillion economy that if I just inject money, technology has gotten to the point, at least for it's an inverted pyramid. If we tried to go back to the stone age, we'd never survive. If society collapsed, it would never rise again. Not like the organic one did. Never. You can't do that. You can't go back. It's an inverted pyramid. It just keeps getting larger and larger, and we know less and less of it. Because we're only human, right? But the accumulated knowledge of humans keeps growing at a stupid high rate. At least every generation gets a new bit, right? So if you think about it like that, you have literally, I don't know too much about something, but I could help in terms of making something that to the average person, like living a few hundred years ago, they wouldn't even be able to imagine it, much less help and create it. But it gets created because we have all these systems that were put in place, the infrastructure built, from the roads to mass producing steel. Like, all of this stuff had to happen first, and then you get to this super cool stuff like a computer, dude. That's even just one of the, like a simple one, like a calculator from the 70s. You're already way too far. Like, from the time when you're a hunter, like anybody that says they want to live in some log cabin or something, they're fucking dumbass. Dude, okay, no, I guess they're not a dumbass. The point is that I guess you enjoy nature that much, but to think that you're living off the grid and you're not dependent on human technology, you're a fool. Even if you have a steel knife, even if that's the only thing you bring, you're already relying on a process that you could not recreate. You cannot make that, like, the grade of steel that is in a common, like, hunting knife. There's no way anyone themselves could make it with stuff they just found around out in the woods. If you just went out in the woods and you started, you made your hut, you started foraging. Nope. That's not how that works. Now I think about it, since I'm streaming, I'll sound like a crazy person. Because I'll just be talking to myself, like answering questions to something that they would have to figure out through context. Because you're just typing. They take some shit out of, oh my god, so much stuff out of context. They'll just be like, oh my god, what did you just say? You know how people are. Even someone like me knows that you're just, as long as you don't say stupid shit, nobody's gonna bother you. I don't even know how to have an overlay yet. I don't know how to do that thing. I've barely figured out how to get this thing to where I can just, like, I can just open stream. Like, that's just a natural thing I do now. Oh yeah, of course. See, that's why I say it all the time, because dude, it's perfect. What? I think this was 2 days. Or 3. Oh, keys, dude. Keys. Dude, it was nice talking to you. Straight up. Thanks for checking out my shit, too. Dude, that trinket, as long as you always have a group that nobody needs it, you need to bring somebody who needs it on an alt, but they're just gonna pass it to you. It'll drop. Peace, brother.